what do we have in automation? So what we'll be going over today is what's the use of automations, the different functionalities we have in the app. We'll be creating a first automation, a little example. We'll go through a little use case, and then we'll go through also a series of questions if ever we need to. So basically, automations could be used for several different use cases, as you may know or not. One of the simplest ones is for a subscriber welcome email. We can use it to nurture leads via sequences. We can use automations to reactivate a customer if he's non-engaged by sending special offers, or if he abandoned, for example, a shopping cart on the website. We can use automations also for order confirmations, follow-ups, feedbacks, surveys. In the case of nonprofits, it could be used as a flow to help the donations, the donation campaigns, and we can also use it as a drip for a product or a service training, kind of like we do with CakeMail when you sign up, a little onboarding flow. And it can also be used as an official notification, so sending notices, etc. So these are just basic examples, but essentially what we want to see here is to make your life easier and allow you to do to have an overview of what's happening instead of having to do those day-to-day repeated tasks. So once you put this on auto drive, then you're able to have more time to focus on strategy rather than just always repeating and creating and duplicating constantly. So we'll go ahead and we'll just log into an account, and we'll go through all those functions I just spoke about now. So if I log in to one of my accounts, and I'm in my CakeMail account, and we'll go to the automations tab. This is where it all happens, and I can hit the little plus button here to create a first automation. So the first step where it's gonna ask me is I'll be asked to link my automation to a list. So I have here for my catering, I have my mailing list, and I will go ahead and click on continue. Second step is where I set a name. The name is for internal reference. So in this, I can write, this is my welcome email flow. And I can also add a description if I want to be to add more details at the bottom to be able to have a clearer view in the case that I would have multiple automation flows in my automations tab. Finally, we have the last step, which allows us to select a reason why we're doing this marketing automation. Right now, it's just to set the information, but down the line, we'll also be proposing automation templates to give you a better idea, or propose you some marketing ideas on how to use it based on what you're looking to do. So in, let's say today's case, we'll try to drive audience engagement, and we'll finally proceed and get to my automations workflow. So here I am. I'll just zoom out a little, and we can see the moment of entry in an automation is from the moment someone subscribes or I import someone into my mailing list. We can decide to remove it if ever we wouldn't want this, and there's other ways that we can do it. So we can inject someone in an automation workflow if a tag is applied to this person as well. So if I don't want, let's say when I import someone in my list, to automatically get into the flow, one way of doing it is removing this by hitting the delete and going to get the tag. So I would only inject a person when he or she is tagged. And finally, the third way of doing this is to manually add contacts. So once my automation is turned on, I would be able to click on manually add and go get somebody in my list to inject him in the flow. So once my setup is complete and I decided what's the entry point to my flow, I can go ahead and kind of create this. So we'll go over the little functions, all the functions we have here and that stuff. So here I have a set of conditions and we have a set of actions that can be done. So the first one is very simple. It's a delay. So after I sign up or after I tag, I set a delay. The delay can be set to 1 second. It can be set to in days, minutes, hours, so on and so forth. Usually, when we set a welcome email, we'll put a 1 second delay to send it out. And after that, I can hit the little plus and go to my next step. So if we're following the, how can I say, the logic of this flow, I sign up to the list or I get injected in the flow and we'll want to wait 1 second and send out that first email. So once I go and select there in my actions to send an email, I have here on the left-hand side a menu that pops up that gives me options to modify my template. So I can go ahead here, give my email a name. Again, this name is the internal name that we're using. So we can call it welcome email. And here I have my template. So I can go, if I'm not happy with this one, I can go and click on edit, and it's going to allow me to use our drag and drop builder, kind of like what you see in the campaigns, and allow me to change this. And once I'm satisfied, I can save and exit and go back to where I was. So I have here the option to edit, or if I want to completely change the template and use one of my pre-existing templates in my account or one from the Cakemail template libraries, it's also available there. From that point, so it's going to ask us to select the from. Obviously, the to is determined at the top of the flow, so that's not needed. So the from here, we select our sender with the sender email, and then we'll put our subject line. So welcome. Once I'm done with all this, I can send myself a test email, and we'll go ahead and validate everything if it's okay. Once that gets sent, let's say I turn on my flow, and let's say this would have only been my flow. I can click here on overview, and I'll have here the full campaign report. So my opens, my clicks, unsubscribes, delivery bounce, whatever. And if I click on the full campaign report, then we'll see it kind of like we see the reports when we send out a newsletter in the campaigns tab. Okay, so this is my first step. And let's say we want to complexify a bit this whole thing. So I have a second condition that's called if else. So if else, as you may already know, is the possibility to add a condition based on several different things. And these conditions can be based on campaign activities. So in my first email, if I click, didn't click, open, didn't open, and all that, I can have two paths and take or send content based on what happened in the previous step. Or we can also put a condition based on the information that we have in the client's list. So for example, if here in Quebec, we have two official, let's say in Canada, we have two official languages. So some people speak English, some people speak French. So I would have in my contact list a field that's called language, and I say English and French. So I would be able to put here if the language, for example, is English, if it's yes, we'll send this email in English, and if it's no, we'll send it here, and then we'll keep going. The flow will continue. Technically, this if else in the example I'm stating would have been up here at the top. So we would have put that at the start of the flow and not sent a welcome email first. We'd start doing the breakdown of the language from the start. But as I mentioned, it could be done on any type of information that's in the list. So once I selected my condition, I can keep moving ahead. And again, for example, I would send out my second email. As we mentioned, I have one in English and one in French. And if we keep going down in the flow, then we'll have a different type of action that we offer, that's called looping. And essentially, looping can be used for many different things. A loop allows you to go back to a certain step in time, and also a specific amount, a specific number of times, or it can be done continuously. So continuously would be in the case that I have, for example, an annual renewal of a subscription or birthday or something like that. Then we could set 52 weeks from the sign up date or whatever, and we put it into a loop. Or we would also be able to put an if-else condition, if I opened or if I didn't open, and loop continuously, or one time, for example. If you didn't open, we'd loop back and to the previous step and resend that email to give it a second chance to see if the person, it was just a bad timing or whatnot. So that could be two examples of using the loop. Finally, in the conditions, we offer a third one at the present moment. It's called a path split. Again, a path split could be done at any moment in an automation. Normally, we'd inject it probably up here at the start, because a path split is kind of like it's an A/B split, but of an automation flow. So let's say I want to modify my flow, and I'm saying, well, I'm having second doubts on whether I have the best strategy possible. Well, I'll go and create my A/B right here, and we'll go and create two different split or several flows to see which one performs the most. And if we don't want to take that much of a risk to start, we can really split that flow and put like 90% to keep the current one that we have in place, and 10% of the people who sign up, we send them in the new flow, so then we can compare and see how we're doing performance-wise. And then obviously once our flow is dead, we can compare and all that. Finally, we're gonna have a third and fourth type of action that are quite similar, I'd say, to one another. The first one is an update of an attribute. So it means when I get to a certain part of my flow, I'll be able to tag either tag a person or update a field to say, for example, if the person did exactly the flow that we were looking to do, maybe he gets to the end and he went yes, 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 and this is exactly what I wanted to do. Maybe we'll update his field. If we had a field called VIP, we'll put yes in the VIP, or in the case of a tag, we'll actually tag the person of a VIP, and there we can add another layer of complexity and or personalization, I'd rather say, is and then we'll be able to create a second automation flow that begins with every person that's tagged for that has a tag called VIP. And we could do the same with people that don't do what we wanted them to do in the flow. And when they reach the end, we could tag them as non-engaged, and we'd be able to create a second, or a third in this case, automation flow that's called non-engaged. And once the person gets the tag non-engaged, we would start a new automation flow that we'd create to try to re-engage this person and go through the flow. And then obviously you take a business decision based on what happens there. But that's just a little example of what could be done here in the automations flow. We also have with us on the call a a special author here that we have, the up and rising author, that's also using CakeMail for her automations. And I'm not sure if Isa, you wanted to oh, you're muted there.
So I'll be, bonjour tout le monde. Nice to meet you. I know some of you know me already. I will share actually testing the automation. We're testing and we're making different experience on the automation. And I decided to test it on a personal level. So what I've done is I based an art project on it. So I built a story, and this story is sent by chapter. So this is in French, this is my mother tongue. And actually, the people that are subscribing to my story receive a chapter every week. And what is interesting with automation is that they're not at the same pace. Some of them have subscribed a long time ago. So they're at, for example, chapter 49, and some other ones are at chapter 1 or 2. So this is different. And you can see this is very simple. This is the first chapter, and then the week after that they've read it, they receive the second chapter, and it goes on and on and on. So automation are really powerful for that, to help people to build actually a story with your clients or with the people that you're talking to at their own pace. So it's possible to do that. So this is a personal work that I'm doing, and it was a very nice way to test the experiment. And when they've done like the first part, the first chapters, I think the 31st one, they're automatically tagged at the end of it, and they start to receive the second automation. So the second automation is based on the tag that became at the end, that arrived at the end. So it's the same thing. If you want, for example, to train someone on a specific technology or on a product, they can go step by step. And then at the end, you can add, for example, training completed or next step of training, and put them into another automation. So for everything that is building at their own pace, it's a very powerful tool to do, because there's no way that you can be there and send at the exact time the next content to the person. So voila. So I will leave back the
Thank you
room
so much.
to Alex.
So as Isabelle presented, this would be in the case of a what we call a bit more of a drip, or it can be used for in one of the examples that we mentioned, would be more for a similar case would be for like a training program. So every week we send, or every second week we send out a new chapter or a new tutorial, or etc. along those lines. This time I'll present to you a second example that we use or that we built for a CakeMail onboarding. So when, for example, someone creates a new account, in our use case, it's someone creates a new account. So we have a flow of welcome emails and a whole training program, and it's to show you how this gets done via the automation workflows. So I'll go ahead and just show you my screen. So here we are in the workflow itself. So we've linked this the signups to a list. And what we decided to do was, in this case, wait 15 minutes after a sign up, because in our case, once you sign up, you're receiving a confirmation or an activation email to confirm your email address and all that. So it would make too much at once. So we'll wait 15 minutes before sending our little welcome email that we do. Once that's done, pardon me, we in this case we actually did a 50-50 split to test welcomes. So this is let's say a way that we can present a couple of our features here with also the possibility to match two conditions. So in this case, what we put in conditions is we're pushing an attribute in our cake mail list of a user's status. So is he an active account? Is he a trial? So if he is and he matches this, very good. We will send out the welcome email, which is our email one of the flow. And once I go in this case here, we get to show you something else as well that's adding a little extra layer of complexity or personalization. As I mentioned before, in Canada we have the English and French mainly that sign up. So on this page, or sorry, in the subject line, we're putting conditional statement that could also be found in our support documentation on our knowledge base. And based on the language that you have in the list, that is again information that we pick up and add to the list upon sign up, or based on the page where you signed up on, we'll add that little information to personalize the email a bit more based on your language. We'll put the subject line in the appropriate language, and then from there we created our template and we send it out. Actually, in this particular template, we're also doing conditional statements on the blocks that are in the newsletter as well. So again, this is not the purpose of today's webinar, but it's only to show you that there's ways to really let's call it hyper personalize what's going on here. So once that flow is done, we'll wait 2 days, and then if you match again a condition that we've appointed, we'll be sending you a second email on another section of the app. So again, kind of like a little training program or reminders that go on for a 15 or 14-day period, and we keep going, so on and so forth, till we reach the end of our flow, which is the 6th onboarding email. So essentially, we're just kind of building this flow on repeat. So we're repeating every step exactly the same way with the conditions. And if you keep matching those conditions, then we keep sending. So if you're still engaged, unengaged, or your status is in our case the same, we'll keep sending, and that's pretty much it. So once you get to the flow, like here, could have made it to the end, and whoever made it at the end, and let's say we could have said, hey, whoever clicked in every single one of our campaigns, or at least 3 of our campaigns, maybe we don't send them anything else on the training for now, or for example, we would, or if someone never clicked on those campaigns, then we'd maybe create another flow at a bigger distance to try to re-engage the person, or try to see how he's doing as well. So this is in a nutshell a bit an example that's a little more complex than what we're used to, or that can be used, but it's one that leverages a bit more of our features here. And we also saw the one of Isa that was a bit more of a simple flow as well. So for the 101, that's essentially what we just wanted to show you. We just wanted to explain a bit the functions and a little bit of what can be done with the new cake mail automations. Obviously, over time, we'll be also adding different functionalities, but there's ways to be creative with these use cases And a lot of the time it's feeding information in your contact list. So the more information you feed into that list, the more data you have to play with to personalize and send relevant content to your subscribers. We're seeing over time, as you may already know, the one-to-one personalized emails do tend to have a higher engagement rate and have more success with what you're trying to accomplish, obviously, because the person feels more concerned from what you're sending. So that was pretty much it for today. We'll have a little, if we have any questions, we have a little period of time assigned for that. So feel free to either let us know in the chat or whatever you may need.
Or I
If
can
not,
reactivate the sound too if you want to talk. It's
exactly.
sometimes it's easy.
If not, you can also contact us directly, and we'll gladly have a one-to-one personalized call on what you want to do and what you're looking to accomplish with your CakeMail account.
I don't see any question, so I suspect it's clear for the moment. We invite you to try it, to play with it, because it's really something that needs to be managed and to be experiment actually. To put different things in the flow, to build up and to create different flows. So if you have any question, just contact us and we'll be glad to have a little more personal follow-up with you onto that. Merci, Alex. I don't see any questions, so I suspect that you were clear as usual. Merci tout le monde. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.